Hey, sensitive Cancer, take a moment and pay attention to the emotions, thoughts, and subtle changes moving through your life as August 28th, 2026 comes into focus. Something may be asking you to look beneath the surface and understand what your heart has been trying to tell you. You may feel more emotional than usual, more protective of your peace, or suddenly aware that a situation you once accepted no longer feels right. You may find yourself thinking about a conversation that was never completed, a relationship that has changed, or a decision you have been postponing because you are not ready to face what it might mean. Cancer, your emotional intuition can be powerful, but when feelings become overwhelming, it can sometimes be difficult to separate intuition from fear. Before reacting, give yourself space. Ask yourself whether you are responding to what is happening now or to something that happened before. Your past experiences can influence the way you protect yourself, but they do not have to determine every new choice you make. Think of your emotions like the tide. They rise, they move, and eventually they change. You do not have to fight every wave. Sometimes the wisest thing you can do is allow yourself to observe what you feel before deciding what to do about it. August 28th may therefore become a meaningful moment of emotional recognition for Cancer. You may notice a repeated thought, a familiar feeling, or a situation that keeps returning to your attention. Instead of ignoring it, ask what it is trying to teach you. Astrology and tarot cannot decide your future for you. They can simply offer symbolic perspectives that help you reflect on patterns and possibilities. If something in this message does not fit your experience, there is no need to force it. But if a particular message immediately makes you think of something happening in your life, pause and consider why it resonates. Cancer, one of your greatest strengths is your ability to care deeply. You notice changes in people's moods, remember details others forget, and often understand what someone needs before they say it. But this strength can become exhausting when you begin taking responsibility for everyone's emotional world. You can love someone without fixing every problem they have. You can support someone without carrying their pain for them. You can listen without becoming responsible for the outcome. There may be moments around August 28th when you realize that you have been giving more energy to other people's needs than to your own. Perhaps someone repeatedly comes to you for advice, reassurance, or emotional support. Helping others can be meaningful, but your own well-being deserves attention too. Do not become so focused on protecting everyone else that you forget to protect your own peace. If your surroundings have felt chaotic recently, create some quiet space. Time in nature, reading, calm music, journaling, or simply stepping away from constant notifications can help you hear your own thoughts again. Rest does not mean that you are giving up. Sometimes rest is what allows you to understand what you actually want. You may also become more aware of your physical and emotional energy. If stress has been accumulating quietly, you may notice changes in your sleep, mood, concentration, or general energy. Instead of judging yourself, treat those signals as information. Your body and mind deserve care before exhaustion becomes overwhelming. This becomes especially important in your career. Cancer, you may be thinking about stability, professional security, or whether your current path truly reflects the future you want. You may have stayed in a situation because it feels familiar, even though another part of you has been wondering whether something different could be possible. Familiar does not always mean fulfilling. There may be a project, responsibility, or professional decision that requires your attention. Before deciding what to do, ask yourself whether you are staying because you genuinely want to remain there or because change feels uncomfortable. You do not have to make a dramatic decision immediately. Sometimes the first step is simply admitting that you want something different. If you are working toward a goal, remember that progress does not always happen quickly. Cancer can sometimes become discouraged when emotional circumstances affect motivation. But one difficult week does not erase everything you have already accomplished. Return to the next practical step. You do not have to solve your entire future in one day. The same awareness applies to money. You may be thinking more seriously about financial security, saving, spending, or a future opportunity. August 28th encourages you to approach financial decisions with calmness rather than fear or excitement. A promising opportunity may appear, but take time to understand it. Do not allow someone else's urgency to become your urgency. Your financial future is built through consistent decisions, careful planning, learning, and patience. One opportunity does not define your entire future. When it comes to love and relationships, Cancer, the energy becomes much more emotional. You may be craving reassurance, honesty, and emotional security. You may also become less willing to remain in situations where you constantly have to wonder what another person really feels. If you are in a relationship, communication is important. Do not expect your partner to automatically understand what you need. Even though you may be highly intuitive, other people cannot always read your emotions accurately. Tell them what you feel, tell them what you need, and give them the opportunity to respond. At the same time, listen to what they are trying to communicate. A relationship becomes stronger when both people feel heard rather than when one person constantly tries to guess what the other is thinking. If there has been tension, avoid turning silence into a punishment. Sometimes silence protects your peace, but sometimes it creates greater misunderstanding. Choose your moments carefully, and when you speak, speak honestly. If you are single, someone may unexpectedly attract your attention. It could begin through a conversation, a familiar connection, or someone who reveals a side of themselves you had not noticed before. But Cancer, do not rush to create an entire future from one emotional moment. Allow someone to show you who they are. Notice whether their actions match their words. Notice whether you feel comfortable being yourself around them. Real connection is not only about strong feelings. It is also about consistency, respect, communication, and trust. You may be discovering that you want a relationship that feels emotionally safe rather than one that constantly keeps you guessing. In family matters, your caring nature becomes especially important. There may be an opportunity to repair an old misunderstanding or bring warmth back into a relationship that has become distant. You do not need to force anyone to agree with you. Sometimes healing begins when someone simply decides to listen. A calm conversation can accomplish more than repeated arguments. But remember your boundaries. You are not responsible for keeping everyone happy. You are allowed to step away from situations that repeatedly drain you. You can care about your family without carrying every problem into your own heart. Now let's move into the symbolic tarot energy surrounding you. The first card appearing for Cancer is the Queen of Cups. This card strongly connects with emotional awareness, intuition, compassion, and inner understanding. It reminds you that your feelings contain information, but they still need to be understood carefully. You may already sense something about a person or situation. Instead of immediately acting on that feeling, observe it. What exactly are you sensing? Is there something concrete supporting it? Or could an old fear be influencing your reaction? The Queen of Cups encourages emotional intelligence rather than emotional impulsiveness. The next card is the Four of Pentacles. This card asks you to examine what you are holding on to. Perhaps you are holding on to an old relationship, an old disappointment, an old fear, or even a version of yourself that no longer fits your life. You may believe that holding tightly protects you. Sometimes it does. But sometimes holding too tightly prevents something new from entering. Ask yourself what you are protecting and whether it still needs the same level of protection. Then comes the Star, bringing hope, renewal, and emotional healing. If you have been carrying disappointment, this card reminds you that one difficult experience does not define your future. You can become hopeful again without forgetting what happened. You can trust again while still having boundaries. You can move forward without pretending the past never mattered. The Star suggests that something inside you may slowly become lighter. It may not happen all at once. It may simply begin with one peaceful morning, one honest conversation, or one moment when you realize that you are no longer reacting to life exactly as you once did. Then comes the Chariot. For Cancer, This card brings movement and determination. You may reach a point where emotional reflection needs to become practical action. You have thought about something long enough. You may now need to choose a direction. The Chariot does not mean rushing. It means taking control of your direction instead of allowing circumstances to decide everything for you. You can be sensitive and still be strong. You can care deeply and still move forward. You can protect your heart without closing every door. When the reading turns toward relationships, the Two of Cups appears. This card represents mutual understanding, emotional balance, and genuine connection. If you are in a relationship, it may encourage deeper communication and a stronger sense of partnership. Both people need to have a voice. Both people need to feel respected. Both people need space to express what they actually feel. If you are single, the Two of Cups may symbolize the possibility of a meaningful emotional connection. But again, allow the relationship to develop naturally. Do not chase certainty. Let consistency reveal the truth. Cancer, your emotional world may be changing because you are learning that love does not require you to lose yourself. A healthy relationship can provide closeness while still respecting individuality. You do not have to become everything another person needs. And you should not expect another person to become everything you need. Connection becomes stronger when two people meet as whole individuals and choose to support each other. Your health and well-being also deserve attention during this period. If you have been emotionally overwhelmed, give yourself opportunities to decompress. A peaceful routine can help create a sense of stability when everything else feels uncertain. Pay attention to sleep, energy, mood, and stress. If something about your health concerns you, speak with a qualified healthcare professional rather than relying on astrology or tarot for medical decisions. In your career, the Chariot encourages movement. You may need to stop waiting for perfect circumstances and begin taking practical steps toward a goal. The Queen of Cups reminds you to trust your intuition, but the Four of Pentacles asks you not to let fear prevent you from growing. The Star brings confidence that a better direction is possible. You do not have to know every detail before beginning. Sometimes clarity arrives after the first practical step. Financially, the Four of Pentacles has an especially important message. Being careful with money can be wise, but fear should not control every decision. There is a difference between responsible planning and being so afraid of losing something that you never allow yourself to grow. Look at your resources realistically. Think long-term. Avoid impulsive decisions. And remember that stability comes from habits built over time. In family life, the Queen of Cups reminds you to lead with compassion, while the Chariot reminds you that you still have boundaries. You can be loving without becoming overwhelmed. You can forgive without pretending nothing happened. And you can create distance when a situation repeatedly harms your peace. Cancer, August 28th ultimately asks you to balance your heart with your judgment. Your sensitivity is not something you need to eliminate. It is something you need to understand. Your intuition can guide you, but your choices should also be grounded in reality. Your emotions can tell you what matters, but they do not have to control every action. The central question for you now is, what are you ready to release so you can move toward what you truly want? Maybe it is an old fear. Maybe it is an outdated expectation. Maybe it is the need to make everyone happy. Maybe it is simply the belief that protecting yourself means never opening your heart again. You do not need to forget the past. You only need to stop allowing the past to make every new situation feel dangerous. As August 28th unfolds, pay attention to the moments that bring you peace. Notice who respects your boundaries. Notice which opportunities make you feel hopeful rather than pressured. Notice which conversations leave you feeling understood rather than exhausted. Those details can tell you more than dramatic predictions ever could. Cancer, your message is simple. Protect your peace, trust your inner wisdom, communicate honestly, and allow yourself to move forward. You do not have to carry everything. You do not have to know everything. And you do not have to remain where you no longer feel connected to the life you want to create. Let your heart speak. Let your mind evaluate. And then let your choices move you toward a future that feels more peaceful, meaningful, and truly yours.